All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our review series for Saturday night's main event. It's going to be Saturday night's main event 26. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, man. Let's get right into this. Pardon me, I'm a little under the weather for this one, so just bear with us. On April 23rd, 1990, this was live. They aired it on the 28th, 1990. Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body Ventura. Jesse's still there, at least for the time being.
They came out on the horses, too, in Texas.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, they were doing something different. It was fun.
Vince was doing some slapstick because they were in Austin, Texas. The card was pretty good. A lot of promos they did in this one, setting up, going forward towards SummerSlam.
Yeah, well, it's worth noting. So there's no technically, as far as on air, there's no IC champion at this point because
Exactly, yeah.
Warrior was basically he relinquished the IC belt after beating Hogan, so the tournament is going on. But I actually think the tournament, when they air this, I think the tournament might actually be over. I think Perfect won it, but they didn't air it yet.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the dates, but I'm not because I know in May. They aired it when he won in May, but I think he actually won it in April at a house show or taping wrestling challenge, whatever it was.
I think it was the Superstars. I'm not 100%
Yeah.
sure.
So
When he beat Tito Santana in the finals.
But as far as on air, there's no IC champion currently at this time.
Exactly. Because our opening bout was the end of another feud that Hogan's going through. It's Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Perfect with the Genius in his corner.
Mhm.
And like you said, Perfect didn't come out with the IC title. So this was just a straight one-on-one match. The match itself was pretty good. I like I'm going to skip towards the end because this stuck in my mind the whole night. I love the fact that after the match, Hogan made the title gesture. He just lost this 3 weeks ago. He's already claiming he's the number one contender, and he wants his belt back already. I thought that was funny. But we all know he's not getting the rematch anytime soon because he's actually going to be stepping away. But this match was pretty good. Perfect's now actually technically on a losing streak if you think about it, even though he's winning in the tournament because he loses at WrestleMania 6, and now Hogan breaks out of the Perfect Plex in this one and pins Mr. Perfect 1, 2, 3, and Hogan gets the victory. And like I said, he makes the title gesture at the end of this match saying, "I want my belt back." Crybaby.
It's Hogan, man.
It is. But I mean, otherwise, it was a pretty good match. Perfect, I think, held his own against Hogan. But then again, Hogan, Perfect, when we've said this in the past, did not move on to the main event status. He became the mid card champion for a couple of years, or for a year. Excuse me. The next match, I like the guy, but I felt bad for him because this is pretty much a squash match. It was Hillbilly Jim versus Earthquake. This is pretty much just for Earthquake showing his dominance.
Pretty much.
He's already done that.
I think Hillbilly Jim did he just show up for this? Because I don't even remember him being around at this time. Did they just it was like a one-off or something?
The last couple of years that he worked there, because his last match actually came in the summer of 1990. He was like a fill-in.
No, but like before this, I don't remember seeing him for a while.
I remember hearing back in the day that he had a bad knee injury, that he was trying to make a comeback in his career, although it wasn't ever confirmed. Once he stepped away, like I said, he would do fill-in matches for the WWE.
Yeah.
If somebody didn't make the card, he would step in. But this one he was actually signed to. And like I said, on a house show later on in the summer of 1990, that was his final match before he joined Primetime Wrestling.
Yeah, Earthquake just destroys him. So it was just a squash match just to show his dominance.
Yeah, it was under 2 minutes. Yeah. I mean, Jimmy Hart, tries to steal the horseshoe. Hillbilly Jim gets distracted, goes after him. Earthquake splashes him in the corner and hits him with not one but two Earthquake splashes, drops. And so now Hillbilly Jim is showing that he's hurting. They bring out the stretcher, and following this, Earthquake is now making the challenge towards Hulk Hogan, considering they've had a run-in at the main event.
Well, he had he referenced when he squashed him on I think it was Wrestling Challenge. This is before he fought Ultimate Warrior, and he says, well, basically because I destroyed you, that's why you lost the WWF title. That's what Earthquake was saying. Because remember, Warrior comes out and saves Hogan, but not after he already gotten squashed, I think once or twice, whatever it was. So yeah, and then had a bunch of promos of Rick Martel throughout this. It was like 3 or 4 of them with the arrogance.
4 of them, oh my god!
Pretty funny though. I think it was overkill, but it was funny. I remember Me and my brother, when we used to wrestle, I used to take the air freshener and I used to spray it in the air and I used to say, "This is arrogance." We used to have fun as kids, man. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
Don't
fun.
don't try this at home. Yeah, you should have
Yeah,
told us that years
exactly.
ago.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just worth mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, one or two promos would have been all right, but they had four of them. I
Yeah, it
did
was
like
too
the one
much.
where he
It was
was in
too
the
much.
car
Yeah, yeah.
pulling off with the model,
Mhm.
in the model with the model. But yeah, it was a little overkill. Okay, we
Yeah,
get it. This is what you're going
right.
forward. The next match after this, I really enjoyed, although it seemed like the Hart Foundation came off as the heels, even though they were being cheered.
Well, it was
The,
babyface versus babyface, but yeah, they kind of came off heels because Jesse interviewed them,
yes,
and so
that's what to
yeah,
me said. Okay, the Hart Foundation and the
yeah, yeah.
Rockers,
Hmm.
they're coming off as the heels in this match. Both teams got a huge pop in this.
Right, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed this match. Of course,
Hmm.
I love seeing Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart getting in the ring,
Hmm.
no matter the timeline.
No, it was a great
Um,
match.
it was, and then Demolition comes down.
They were
Now
scouting, I guess.
they're already being deemed the heels now.
No, they're
Straight,
still baby faces. I think they're still
yeah,
baby faces
they
at this
are, but
point.
they got booed a little bit. But the fans, ultimately it was like 50-50.
Yeah,
At
but
least when
they
I got when
hadn't
I
turned,
watched it.
they hadn't turned them yet officially.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
Which I
so
don't understand why
it's
they
interesting to
did
see.
it. It didn't.
Well,
It makes sense
we do know why. We just didn't like it.
later
They
on.
turned
Yeah,
them because Legion of Doom.
was
But
on their way. Yeah,
yeah, it was weird seeing three babyface teams like not getting along. It's kind of strange, but it was.
yeah.
I thought
They're over there documenting the Rockers and the Hart
they're
Foundation.
scouting them. Yeah,
Both teams are pissed off that they're even at ringside.
yeah. I forget
They
who
put
falls
up
out of the ring. Somebody falls out of the ring, and they help him
Janetti,
up. It was Janetti, right? And he was helping him up, and then I think Shawn Michaels gets upset.
and that's where it
Uh,
started with the double
Yeah,
disqualification. Demolition just goes in the ring. Everybody's beating it. It's funny. One Demolition goes after the Hart, another Demolition on the Rocker, and then you got a Rocker and the Hart Foundation fighting themselves. It's like, man, back
yeah.
then,
It's just
put the triple threat match in. Let's go.
yeah.
But it ended in a double DQ because these are the two teams right now that are in line for the tag titles. Demolition,
Hmm.
I believe, on the next Saturday Night Main Event does give the Rockers a tag title shot. And then, of course, we know what's going to happen when they do the next main event, how the Rockers got screwed there. And then Hart Foundation is going to go to SummerSlam, deemed the number one contenders. But I thought this was a good match. The outcome, I guess, it saved both
Yeah,
teams with
pretty
their
much.
momentum.
Hmm.
But like I said, ultimately, these are going to be your three teams going after the tag titles for the next
Yep.
couple of months until Hawk and Animal show up.
Yeah.
Now, our next match was for the WWE Championship, his first on-air title defense, the Ultimate Warrior defending the title against Haku. And again, this felt like another squash match, but this was a setup to what's to come in
Right.
about 4 months from now. Warrior gets the victory. It was literally like under 5 minutes on Haku. But the interview following this was that Heenan had made it clear that there was one Heenan family
Hmm.
member, that knew how to beat him, and he was going through extensive training to do it, and that was Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yep.
So this this is going to set up SummerSlam 90 with the two of them. Rude, apparently it was the Heenan family was never done with Warrior. Rude had unfinished business with him, and so this was gonna, like I said, lead up to that.
Yeah.
Now the following match was they showed the WrestleMania during I believe it was right before the Warrior match. They showed the WrestleMania 6 clip of how he beat Hogan.
Hmm.
For the last match, they showed the WrestleMania clip on Boss Man versus Akeem when Ted
Hakeem, yeah.
DiBiase
Right. Interfered.
jumped him. And I like Jesse Ventura goes, we're getting some freebies here. The match hasn't even started. And so, again, this was former tag team partners going at it. Boss Man had the victory. Slick gets it
He
involved.
could.
Ted
You saw.
DiBiase and Virgil come down.
Yeah. Did you notice he couldn't get Hakeem on the sidewalk slam? Hakeem kind
Yeah,
of just like they do it, but it's like you can tell he just throws himself down. He can't get. It's too big.
he couldn't get the big man up.
Yeah, yeah. He can't
It almost
get.
looked like that too at WrestleMania. That it
Yes.
kind of like, okay, I just barely got
Right.
him.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what is he running? 400 pounds plus.
Yeah. Yeah. The Twin Towers, man. The former Twin Towers going at it again.
Yep. And again, DiBiase and Virgil come down. They handcuff the big boss man, which is funny because they don't realize, okay, boss man's got the key.
You got the key. Yeah.
He's trying to do it. He gets beat down again.
That's
He goes,
the.
all right, hold on. Goes back and
Yeah.
unhooks himself. I really thought Jake Roberts was going to come down in this, but apparently the DiBiase feud with him is over. And DiBiase and Bossman never really did anything on air. It was mainly a house show feud going forward. But overall, this puts the end to the Twin Towers feud, and Bossman will do his thing going forward, and Akeem eventually will part ways with the WWE. Now, after these matches, they had several interviews that would lead towards the next feuds, and that was mainly Jimmy Hart and Earthquake going after Hulk Hogan, mentioning that in his promos, and of course the Ultimate Warrior doing a great promo with Mean Gene Okerlund, as always he does, and in his cryptic messages and stuff. I thought this one was really good.
Yeah, it was good. It was well done.
And I mean, overall, this was a Saturday night main event that's going to start leading us towards the next pay-per-view. And Hogan's demise hasn't come yet. It's coming on the Brother Love show, where he'll step away and then return to SummerSlam. So, and then the fourth demandment. You know, he mentioned the 3 in this one. We're going to get the 4th one in a few months. But overall, it wasn't bad. It was good to see Jesse at least one more time.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, you know,
I know.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So you guys make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.